Discover the heartwarming moment a little girl reveals an incredible surprise to her single dad. Jake stood on the porch, the shadows of a long day folding around him like heavy clouds. As he scanned the neighborhood, he felt the weight of whispers pressing on his back, people murmuring behind closed doors about his struggles, the job he'd lost, the bills stacking up like unyielding bricks. But all of that faded into the background when he turned and saw Lily. Her laughter danced through the evening air, bright and unwavering, as she chased fireflies in the dimming light. "Dad, look!" Lily shouted, her tiny hand stretched high, trying to catch a flickering bug. In that moment, she was a beacon of hope in his darkening world. But as he knelt beside her, tucking her dark hair behind her ear, his smile masked the tightness in his chest. He could feel his own fears clawing at him. What would happen if they had to leave the home she loved? It was a question he had danced around to avoid burdening her. He tucked the thought away for now, focusing on the sparkle of her eyes. Each night, as he tucked Lily into bed, Jake promised himself he would find a way to keep her safe and happy. "Remember, kiddo, we're rich in love," he'd say, kissing her forehead. The words felt hollow sometimes, especially when he lay awake, worry knotting his stomach. Unbeknownst to Jake, Lily was absorbing all of this. She noticed how he took in deep breaths when bills arrived and how his smile sometimes faded just a bit when he thought she wasn't looking. Inspired by stories of heroes she loved, she decided to be the superhero in her own life. If love meant riches, she'd find a way to build a treasure chest of support around them. One day, after Jake casually mentioned the idea of moving away, Lily felt her world tilt, a gut-wrenching panic clenching her heart. How could they leave? Her school, her friends, their home? No. It didn't sit right. She needed to act. That evening, she gathered her friends and neighbors, determined to turn their community into a force of kindness. "Let us throw a block party," she declared, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "We'll show Dad that everyone loves him." With the help of their caring neighbors, Lily orchestrated a lively event, filling the streets with music, laughter, and delicious food. She painted signs, baked cupcakes, and rallied the local talent. Joy twinkled in their eyes as families joined together, transforming her vision into reality. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the party kicked off, Jake stood outside the community center, grappling with the reality of their situation. He could hear the laughter, the music pouring out into the night. Each note tugged at his heart, reminders of what he was fighting to keep. He contemplated how he'd ever face Lily if he couldn't keep their home. But just then, he heard a familiar giggle, a melody that sliced through his despair. He turned toward the source and saw Lily on stage, her face glowing with pride. In that moment, hope ignited within his chest. He watched in awe as she unveiled the surprise she had worked so hard to create. The warmth of the community wrapped around him like a comforting embrace, reigniting the spark of determination he thought he had lost. Could her heroism be enough? Would their community really rally for them? As those thoughts swirled, Jake's heart raced. For the first time in a long while, he felt the flicker of hope light up the darkness. What lay ahead would test their strength, but for this fleeting moment, he knew they weren't alone. The crowd erupted into applause as Lily beamed on stage, her small frame enveloped in the light of the spotlight. She had gathered every ounce of courage to stand there, and the pure joy on her face melted Jake's worries away, if only for a moment. "Thank you all for coming," Lily shouted, her voice bright and sincere. "I want to share something special for my dad." The audience quieted, intrigued, as a hush fell over the cheerful sounds of the party. Jake felt his heart swell, an unexplainable warmth spreading from within. He could see how much effort she had put into this event. It wasn't just a party, it was a declaration of love, a way to show him he wasn't alone in this fight. With a deep breath, Lily motioned for her friends to join her, and they carried a large cardboard box to the center stage. Jake squinted, trying to make out what it contained. As they set it down, Lily's hands trembled with excitement. "All right," she exclaimed, raising her voice to carry across the lawn. "Inside this box are all the things that remind us of how much fun we have, how loved we are, and how we're going to make sure we stay together." Jake's heart pounded. Each word she spoke resonated within him as if she were declaring their family's mission together. He leaned forward, intrigued and anxious. One by one, her friends began pulling items from the box, handmade drawings from the kids, framed pictures of their families laughing together, letters of encouragement, and even a jar filled with colorful marbles, each representing a different memory or wish for Jake and Lily. The letters were heartfelt and tear-streaked, filled with messages like "You can do this," and "We believe in you." Jake felt a lump form in his throat. He had always thought of himself as Lily's protector, but in that moment, he realized how much strength he drew from the support of their community. As the last item was revealed, a large banner that read "Family is Forever," Jake felt the tears he had held back begin to fall. He glanced at Lily, her eyes shining brightly under the party lights, and she gave him a smile so wide it lit up the whole night. Lily paused, looking into the crowd, relishing the support that surrounded them. "And we're going to make this place even better. Right, everyone?" The crowd erupted into cheers, affirming her bravery and unity. Seeing the love from everyone around him, Jake's heart soared. It was overwhelming to witness his daughter's determination, and he realized he might have underestimated the strength they had in numbers. This wasn't just about him anymore, it was about a whole community that cared. As the energy in the air continued to buzz, Lily held Jake's hand tightly. "See, Dad? We are rich in love. We'll figure this out together." The unwavering belief in her words anchored him, making him feel invincible. Yet, even amid this joy, a subtle worry began to creep back into Jake's mind. He had no job, no income, and he promised himself he would never let Lily feel the weight of their struggles. What would happen when the party ended? What if this was just a momentary flicker of hope against an impending storm? "Let us dance," Lily called out, pulling Jake toward the crowd. The music swelled, and for a split second, he let the worries fade, allowing the moment to wrap around him like a cozy blanket. With each twirl and spin Lily took, Jake started to believe. Maybe they could overcome this. Maybe they could build a future from the light of today. But as he danced, another thought formed, pulling him back to reality. What if the looming challenges were more intense than he could anticipate? As he reveled in the laughter and joy, Jake couldn't shake the feeling, how long would this last? With that thought, the music thumped louder, and he felt a surge of determination. But more importantly, he felt a flicker of fear that reached deep within him. What would happen next? The music pulsed through the air, each beat echoing the thrum of hope that surged within Jake as he spun Lily around. Laughter bubbled from her, filling the night with infectious joy. But underneath it all, a storm brewed in his heart. He couldn't escape the nagging thought that this party, a beacon of light, could only shine for so long. Lily pulled him closer, her small hand gripping his like a lifeline. "Dad, look at everyone," she beamed, pointing toward their friends dancing beneath the string lights. Faces lit up with happiness, parents lifting their children high and friends wrapping each other in tight embraces. It was a picturesque scene, yet Jake felt a heaviness tugging at his thoughts. As the song changed to a slower tune, Lily leaned in and whispered, "Can we do our special dance now?" He nodded, an overwhelming affection flushing through him. They had a signature move, a silly spin that always ended in a dip. It was their moment of connection, a reminder of the bond they shared. But this time, it felt different. He couldn't ignore the uncertainty gnawing at his insides. As he held her, he couldn't help but wonder if he could keep up this facade of stability. He didn't want her to see his worry. In that still moment, Lily looked into his eyes and said, "Promise me we'll always be together, right?" She was smiling, but there was a seriousness in her tone. "Always, kiddo," he replied, forcing a smile, his heart clenching. The dance ended, and they rejoined the festivities, the crowd's jubilant spirit lifting Jake, even if just a little. Yet, through the laughter and cheers, he couldn't help but pinpoint the disconnect growing between him and the world around him. It was becoming clear that the joy they shared was built on sands of uncertainty. As the night wore on, people began to drift into clusters, recounting memories and sharing hopes. Feeling the energy shift, Jake excused himself to gather his thoughts. He wandered toward the edge of the lawn, his eyes tracing the stars above. Each twinkling light felt like a flickering hope, but they also reminded him of the distance he felt from security and joy. Just then, he felt a soft tug at his pant leg. There was Lily, her curls bouncing as she jumped to grab his attention. "Dad! Come see what we made." Following her, he returned to the main area where a group of children huddled around another cardboard box. Jake's heart lifted, curiosity almost pushing down his worries. "Surprise!" The kids shouted in unison, and Lily whipped the box open. Inside were hand-painted rocks, each one adorned with messages of positivity, encouragement, and love. The children had taken it upon themselves to create a good vibe garden. "Everyone can take one home with them," Lily explained, glowing with pride. "It's to remind them we're all in this together, just like you said." Tears threatened to spill as he took in the sight, little hands working together to create pure, unfiltered love. In that moment, surrounded by the laughter of children and the warmth of their community, Jake felt a flicker of hope reignite within him. But as he watched Lily distribute the stones, he remembered the reality they faced. How could he balance all this love with the impending challenges? Lily caught his eye and grinned. "See, Dad? We can make a difference too." His heart swelled with pride, but a sobering realization struck him like lightning. What if this wasn't enough? What if love alone couldn't solve the problems awaiting them once the night came to an end? "Lily," he said softly, holding her gaze. What if we face something tougher than we're ready for?" Her eyes narrowed, unwavering. "Then we take it on together, just like we always do." As the night wore on, Jake couldn't shake his inner turmoil. The support was overwhelming, yet could he truly face the storm waiting for them? Fresh laughter erupted around him, but an urgent question loomed large in his mind. What would happen when the sun came up? Jake took a deep breath, trying to push the weight of his thoughts aside. The laughter and cheer surrounding him seemed to fade, replaced by a deafening silence where doubt resided. He watched as Lily continued to share the stones, her voice bright with excitement. But still, his heart felt heavy. "Dad, look!" Lily called again, this time running toward him, a rock adorned with colorful swirls held high. "This one says, 'You are loved.' Isn't that perfect?" Her joy bubbled over, infectious enough to pull at the corners of Jake's mouth, but it wasn't enough to mask the worry that loomed over him. He knelt down to her level, forcing a smile as genuine as he could muster. "It really is, sweetheart," he said, ruffling her curls. "You and your friends did an amazing job. Grab one," she urged, her eyes sparkling. "You need one too." He hesitated, his heart aching at the thought of taking something so simple that was meant to be a beacon of hope. "I don't know, kiddo. Maybe later?" "Okay, but you can't forget," she warned, her hands on her hips, her expression suddenly serious. He nodded slowly, feeling a smile grow as he took in her determination. There was something about her energy that made the world seem brighter, if only for a moment. But as she skipped back to the gathering, the reality of what lay ahead crept in again. The night wouldn't last forever, and neither would their bubble of happiness. Lily bounced back, excitement renewed as she grabbed Jake's hand. "Come dance with me again?" His heart swelled at her eagerness, and he couldn't refuse her. As they swayed to the music, she held on tightly, blissfully unaware of the shadows creeping around them. "Dad, why do you look sad?" she asked softly, her voice a whisper against the beat. He was taken aback, caught off guard. "I'm just thinking," he replied, choosing his words carefully. "Sometimes, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, you know? Like when you have a lot of work?" she suggested, her eyes narrowing in concentration, trying to understand. "Exactly," he said, relieved she found a connection. "But it's okay, because I have you." "Right. And I have you," she chimed, her smile returning. "Together, we can handle anything." As the song drew to a close, Jake's heart fluttered. Her faith in him fueled a flicker of hope, yet a deeper fear clawed at his thoughts. How many times could they repeat this? The party continued around them, and for a moment, he allowed himself to get lost in the moment again. Laughter erupted as other parents began to join in the dancing, and children squealed with delight as they spun around. That carefree joy wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. Yet, the familiar heaviness lingered. "Dad, next we should make a good vibe wall," Lily declared as they stood still together, her enthusiasm vibrant. "That way, everyone can share their good vibes." "What a fantastic idea," Jake replied, genuinely impressed. Yet, beneath his admiration lay a sinking feeling. What if she poured her heart into that wall, and it all came crashing down when reality hit? "Promise me, you'll help me?" she added, looking up at him with those wide, trusting eyes. "Of course, I will," he reassured, but the tightness in his chest wouldn't let go. As the evening wore on, he watched as Lily made her rounds, spreading happiness with each rock she handed out. She was so full of life, so much faith in every little thing. But soon enough, darkness would drift in, bringing with it the weight of worries he couldn't shake. Could love and hope truly sustain them against the storm? As the stars twinkled overhead, Jake held on to the memory of Lily's laughter, but all he could think was what if the night ignited a fire in her heart that the dawn dimmed? Jake watched as the glow of the stars began to fade, the party winding down around them. Lily was still buzzing, weaving through the crowd like a firefly, her energy still vibrant. He took a moment to breathe, letting the music wrap around him while taking in the sight of her. "Dad!" she shouted, interrupting his thoughts. "I have an idea for our good vibe wall." "What is it?" he asked, leaning in, his heart racing at the joy in her voice. "What if we invite everyone to write their own good vibes?" she suggested, bouncing on her toes. "Like, what makes them happy? Or who they love?" A genuine smile broke from his lips. "That sounds beautiful, Lily. It could be like a little piece of each of us, right?" "Yeah. And we can use all the rocks," she exclaimed, eyes sparkling as if she had discovered a hidden treasure. "Everyone can take one home too." Jake felt warmth seeping into his chest, a glimmer of hope piercing through his shadowy fears. These moments with Lily were a constant reminder of what was worth fighting for. "You really are something special, you know that?" he said, lowering to her level again. She giggled, her curly hair bouncing. "You are too, Dad. And we're going to make everyone so happy." As they discussed their project further, Jake kept glancing at the fading glow of the evening sky, feeling the pull of the coming night. It weighed heavily on his thoughts. But just then, a parent approached, interrupting their moment. "Excuse me. I have a few rocks at home we'd love to contribute to your wall," the woman said, beaming with enthusiasm. Lily's eyes grew wide with excitement. "See, Dad? Everyone wants to help. Let us get started, then," Jake replied, buoyed by her enthusiasm. They spent the remaining time at the gathering collecting rocks and materials, inviting others to join in. Plastic dustbins transformed into art stations, with kids and parents gathered around as laughter and chatter filled the air. It felt good to be part of something larger than just their little duo. As the last few guests began to head home, Jake found himself standing back, watching Lily. She was joyfully decorating a rock with markers, her tongue sticking out in concentration. In that moment, he realized how this small project was growing into something monumental, and surprisingly beautiful. But as the laughter started to fade and the last song played, an unsettling feeling gripped Jake again. Lily skipped over, her hands still smeared with paint. "We can finish this tomorrow, right? I can't wait to show you what I came up with." "Of course," Jake replied, but the weight of tomorrow loomed larger than he wanted to admit. She deserved so much more than he felt he could give. As they packed their things, Jake's mind spiraled again. What if the world outside took her light, dimmed her dreams? The uncertainties loomed larger as they stepped out into the cool night air. But Lily reached for his hand, her fingers warm and trusting. "Together, right?" she said. "Together," he echoed, the weight in his heart softening just a little. But as he looked up towards the horizon, shadows danced at the edges. They were fighting against something much bigger than themselves. What was waiting for them when dawn broke? In the stillness of the night, filled with the echoes of laughter, he wondered, could they really face the storm together? The next morning was cool and brisk, a bright sun peeking over the horizon, scattering the last remnants of night. Jake brewed coffee, the rich smell filling the tiny kitchen, while Lily played nearby, her little fingers moving fast as she arranged her colored markers just so. Today was about the wall, he reminded himself, about what they could create together. But he still felt the weight of the night on his shoulders. "Dad!" Lily called, breaking his thoughts. She rushed into the room, eyes sparkling. "Can we start on the good vibe wall now?" "Of course." Jake replied, his heart lifting a bit. Seeing her energy made it hard to focus on his fears, but he still kept them locked away for now. They grabbed a cardboard box filled with the collected rocks and supplies and set off to the park down the street. The park was empty, just the sound of leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. Sunlight poured down, transforming the world into a glittering place. Jake spread a blanket under a large oak tree, a perfect canvas for their project. Lily dove into the box, pulling out rocks of different shapes and sizes. "Look, Dad. This one looks like a heart." She held it up, grinning from ear to ear. He couldn't help but smile back. As she began decorating the stones, Jake noticed that other families were starting to arrive, drawn in by the energy radiating from Lily's creativity. A few children wandered over, eyes wide with curiosity. "What are you doing?" one of them asked. "We're making a wall of good vibes," Lily declared proudly, her excitement infectious. "You can write what makes you happy on a rock." Before he knew it, the kids were crowding around, eager to join in. Jake felt the tension begin to ease in his heart. This wasn't just their project anymore. It was blossoming into a community gathering, a sign of support and joy. As the rocks began to fill with colorful messages, something unexpected happened. A little girl named Mia, who had been shy and hesitant, took a step forward. She clutched a rock tightly in her hands, her eyes flickering nervously between Jake and Lily. "What is it, sweetie?" Jake encouraged gently. I want to write something too," she said softly, then looked down at the ground. "But it's just silly." Lily immediately knelt beside her, eyes wide with empathy. "No vibe is silly. What makes you happy?" Mia thought for a moment, then whispered, "My puppy." "Perfect." Lily beamed. "You should write that." Jake watched as Mia's face lit up, her confidence growing. She began to write, her small fingers carefully etching the words onto her rock. In moments, it became a radiant token of happiness, one that Jake knew would mean the world to her. Soon, the wall began to take form with an array of colors and messages, each rock representing an individual light in the crowd. Jake's heart swelled at the sight. This was the hope he had been searching for in the shadows of his mind. Just then, Lily tugged at his sleeve, her eyes shining bright. "Dad! Look how many people are joining in. Everyone is so happy." "Yes," he said, a lump forming in his throat. "It's amazing." But beneath this joy lay the undercurrent of anxiety. Jake understood that while they were building their wall of good vibes, there were still whispers of uncertainty looming. He looked out over the growing crowd, seeing the community building around his daughter. The earth felt a little kinder under her light. In her innocent way, she was crafting a safety net not just for herself, but for everyone around. Could this truly become something bigger? What if fear lost its grip in the warmth of their gathering? Together, right? Jake whispered, his gaze returning to Lily as she laughed with her new friends. "Together," she replied, face full of conviction. But even as that promise hung in the air, an unexpected figure approached from the edge of the park. Jake's heart dropped as he recognized him. What would he say? Would he ruin this moment? And with that, the question echoed: could they sustain this glow when shadows lingered dangerously close? Jake felt his heart race as he turned to face the approaching figure. It was Tom, an old friend from his college days, but there was something different about him now. Tom's face was hard to read, a mix of determination and uncertainty. He hadn't seen Tom in years, and the last they spoke had been under tense circumstances. "Hey, Jake," Tom called out, his voice almost lost in the laughter of the kids. "I didn't think I'd find you here." "Yeah, just trying to make some good memories," Jake replied, forcing a smile. The vibrant scene around him felt distant now, as if a dark cloud had rolled in. His mind raced with questions. What was Tom's purpose here? Did he know about the struggles Jake faced after the divorce? Lily, oblivious to the tension, danced over to show Mia a newly decorated rock. "Do you want to write something, too?" she asked, her voice like sunshine. Tom's gaze flicked from Jake to Lily, softening for a moment. "Looks like you're doing great work," he said, a hint of admiration in his tone. "Yeah, we're building a wall of good vibes." Lily beamed, her eyes sparkling. Jake caught the flicker of uncertainty in Tom's eyes, wondering if he would share the joy of that moment or cast a shadow instead. Suddenly, the other kids surrounded them, their excitement bubbling. They laughed, each trying to outdo the other with their rock art. "I wrote about my ice cream," shouted one boy. Another exclaimed, "I drew a dinosaur." Caught in the surge of joy from the children, Jake's heart was torn. The worries that had blanketed him seemed to lift, but the presence of Tom brought it all flooding back. "Jake," Tom said again, stepping closer, lowering his voice, "we need to talk." Jake tensed. "Now? Here?" "It's important," Tom pressed, glancing at the kids and lowering his voice even more. "I didn't know how else to do this." Lily, hearing the seriousness, wandered back to her dad. "Dad, is everything okay?" Jake knelt down to her level, searching for the right words. "Just a grown-up conversation for a moment, honey. Why don't you help Mia pick out a few more rocks?" "Okay," she chirped, bouncing away again, her infectious spirit unfazed by the tension. Jake stood up, facing Tom. "What's this about?" His voice was low but firm. "Listen, I'm here to tell you." Tom hesitated, the weight of his news already evident in the tightening of his jaw. He looked over at Lily, smiling brightly with Mia, before continuing. "I'm here to tell you that I've been doing some thinking. About our past, about your situation." As Tom began sharing, the laughter from the kids slowly faded into the background. Jake's heart hammered in his chest. What could Tom possibly say that would change everything? And I think it's time for you to know some things about your father. The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and charged with emotion. Jake's stomach flipped. What could he mean? His father's absence had been a source of pain, a lingering shadow that often clouded his thoughts. Could this moment in the park really shift the very foundation of the good vibes they were trying to build? The joyful chaos of kids crafting hope was still swirling around them, but in that moment, Jake felt the ground tremble beneath him. Would he find something that could finally bring peace, or would his world shake even more? The time had come for truths buried deep within to be uncovered. What did Tom know that could change everything? Jake's breath caught as he stared at Tom, the weight of his words settling like an anchor in his chest. The laughter of the children faded into a dull hum, their carefree joy suddenly jarring against the potential storm brewing between the two friends. What about my father? Jake's voice trembled, revealing the frayed edges of his composure. Tom's eyes flickered with a mix of sympathy and resolve. Let me start from the beginning, Tom said, his tone heavy. You remember the summer we spent at your family's lake house, right? The fishing, the bonfires? Your dad, he wasn't just working late or off on business trips. Tom hesitated again, and Jake felt the knot tighten in his stomach. What? Just say it. Jake, he was struggling. More than you knew, Tom said quietly. I found out after college that he was fighting his own demons. Jake's mind raced. The father he remembered hadn't been perfect, but he had always been strong, the steady hand guiding him through boyhood. What kind of demons? Addiction, Tom said, his expression grim. He wanted to be there for you, more than anything. But he got lost, and when you were younger, he didn't know how to come back. It was easier to hide. Each word struck Jake like blows. He had lived with the pain of absence, of feeling unworthy of a father's love, a rejection sharper than any words. Why are you telling me this now? After all these years? Because I think you deserve to know, Tom replied. And I think you need to understand that your dad loved you. He was trying to fight for you, even if he couldn't do it face to face. I didn't tell you then, because I thought you were better off not knowing. But now? I see it's holding you back. Anger mixed with confusion surged through Jake. Holding me back? No. It's not that easy. He abandoned me. That's on him. Not completely, Jake. If you could just shift how you see this, it might help you heal, Tom urged gently. Before Jake could reply, Lily returned, skipping with her arms full of colorful rocks, her innocence bleeding light into the heavy moment. Dad! Look what I found. Can we paint them? She put the rocks down at his feet and looked up with those wide, trusting eyes. Jake's heart softened, but the clash of emotions swelled inside him, refusing to gently settle. Sweetie, maybe in a minute. That's okay. I wanna help. She chirped, glancing at Tom, who offered her a warm smile. Jake's gaze shifted back to Tom, searching for answers in his old friend's eyes. Is there more? Is there something else I need to hear? Tom glanced at the vibrant chaos around them, then back at Jake, guilt flickering in his expression. Just that he's not as far away as you thought. He's still fighting, even if in his own way. Jake's pulse quickened again. No longer just grappling with his father's absence, he was faced with the possibility that maybe, just maybe, there was more to the story, more pain, more hope. Dad, Lily tugged at his sleeve, pulling him back into her world. Can we write on the rocks now? Please. With a deep breath, Jake nodded, the pounding in his chest easing just a little. He knelt down next to his daughter, eyes still glued to the vibrant colors of her creations. Yet, even as they began to write together, the swirling storm of revelations loomed over him. Tom continued to watch, a silent keeper of secrets and stories. Jake realized he wasn't just answering the questions of the past. He needed to face the truths looming in his heart and for Lily's future. Okay, kiddo. Let us make them shine. But as they began painting, a single message echoed in his mind: what if uncovering more of the past could finally free him to be the father he always wanted to be? The deeper the layers peeled back, the closer he came to a truth that could uproot the very ground beneath him. Would he find strength in the scars, or would it drive him further from the hope he desperately sought? Lily's laughter echoed against the backdrop of the lake, her small fingers clumsily gripping the paintbrush. Jake watched her, mesmerized by how effortlessly she transformed a simple stone into a masterpiece of bright colors. Her joy was infectious, a stark contrast to the whirlwind of emotions he was trying to sort through. As he dipped his brush into the neon pink paint, casting lingering glances at Tom, the weight of the conversation still hung in the air like fog. "You said he was fighting," Jake finally said, capturing Tom's attention again. "Fighting what, exactly?" The question felt heavy but necessary. It was time to dig deeper, even if every pull at the thread sent shivers down his spine. Tom took a moment, his face lined with thought. "Fighting to be a better man, I think. He wanted to be the dad you needed, but the demons wouldn't let him. It was a battle every day. I saw it, but I didn't know how to help you." Jake steadied himself, wiping away the lingering pain with a determined breath. "I'm not that little boy anymore. I have Lily to think about. I can't let the past define us." "Exactly," Tom replied, the sun casting shadows in the depths of his eyes. "But understanding the past can give you the tools to choose a different path. You can break that cycle." As Jake painted, each stroke seemed to push away the darkness. He was immersed, creating swirls of color that mirrored the chaos inside him. In those simple acts of art, he began to feel a glimmer of hope. Could he bend the past to create a better future for Lily? "Look, Dad!" Lily exclaimed, showcasing a lime-green rock splashed with orange dots. Jake couldn't help but smile at her enthusiasm, the way her eyes sparkled. "It's a sunset. Just like you taught me." Watching her, he realized that there was a sense of freedom in her creativity. The world was bright and open to her. She hadn't been tainted by his history yet. Perhaps he could guard her innocence against the storms of his past while still laughing and finding joy in simple things. He could be the father he wanted to be, starting today. "Let us make a lot more of these. We can decorate the whole garden." He gave her an encouraging nudge. Lily jumped up, her energy contagious, and they began painting with renewed intensity. The colors splashed over the rocks, each hue reflecting a new memory, a new future. But just as Jake started to feel an inkling of peace swirling with the vibrant paints, his phone buzzed violently. The urgency clawed at him. An unknown number. He instinctively knew it was his father. Lily's small hand grasped his arm, eyes wide. "Dad, who is it?" His heart raced, indecision settling in. This was a moment he had been waiting for, yet it felt like a door was swinging open to a world he hardly recognized. "Should I answer?" Jake murmured, more to himself than anyone. The words hung in the air, a fragile thread between him and the past he was trying to leave behind. It felt like a crossroads, and in the pit of his stomach, he understood what lay on the other side of that call could change everything. He looked down at Lily, who was bouncing gently on her feet, full of hope and expectation. "What do I do, sweet pea?" With her unwavering innocence, Lily simply shrugged. "Just go for it, Dad. Just like the rocks. You never know what will happen until you try." Jake's heart swelled. Could it really be that simple? He inhaled deeply, fingers trembling as he swiped the screen. "Okay, I'll try." At that very moment, hidden within the call was a revelation that promised to change everything. Would Jake find the answers he so desperately sought, or would the past bury him deeper? The sun had risen high over the park, casting a golden hue on the scene. Jake's heart raced as he held the phone to his ear, listening intently. Moments felt like years as silence wrapped around him, taut and unyielding. "Jake? It's your dad," the voice on the other end finally broke through, shaky yet familiar. "Dad?" Jake's chest tightened. "Why now? After all these years?" I messed up," his father choked. "I've been trying to find the courage to reach out. I know I hurt you, but I'm trying to make things right." Jake's heart pounded, the memories flooding back, the hurt, the abandonment, the countless nights spent wishing for a different life. "You left us, Dad. You left me to figure it all out alone." "I know. I wish I could take it all back," his dad replied with raw sincerity. "I didn't understand how to be the person you needed. I was lost. But I'm working on it. I've been sober for the past year, and I'm here now, trying to reconnect." Jake kept painting, the colors swirling together on the rocks, matching the tumultuous emotions within him. His father's voice still held echoes of pain, but it was different this time. There was a glimpse of vulnerability that hadn't been there before. As Lily played nearby, lost in her world of creativity, Jake looked at her, feeling her presence sharpen his focus. "I can't promise you forgiveness, Dad. It's going to take time. Lily deserves a father who does everything for her, and I don't want to burden her with your mistakes." "I understand," his dad replied, voice quiet but steady. "I'm not asking for a place back in your life right now. I'm just asking for a chance to prove I can change." Jake took a deep breath, envisioning various futures spinning out like strands of yarn, some threads bright, some dark. "I'll think about it. Just know, I won't allow the past to dictate our lives anymore." With that, he hung up, feeling the weight of that decision settle heavily on his chest. His heart both sank and soared at the same time, a mixture of hope and apprehension coiling together. He had made the first step toward breaking a generational chain of pain, still uncertain of what lay on the other side. "Did you talk to him?" Lily's small voice pulled him from his thoughts. Her bright eyes searched his face, eagerly anticipating his response. "Yeah," Jake said softly, kneeling down before her, wiping the last of the paint from his hands. "He wants to talk again. He's trying." Lily beamed. "See? Just like our wall. We can fix things too, right?" Jake could hardly keep the tears from spilling over. Here, in this moment filled with innocence and hope, he realized the truth she held so dearly. Every rock they painted, each color they splashed on represented their determination to create something beautiful from their struggles. "That's exactly it," he murmured. "Just like our wall, we'll build something amazing." The two of them returned to their project, and as the sun climbed higher in the sky, the wall transformed into a stunning display of colors and messages, a symbol of hope and resilience. Neighbors began joining in, adding their rocks, laughter mingling with creativity, and soon a playful crowd formed around them. Hours went by, but under the sun's gentle warmth, time seemed to dance. Families gathered, shared stories, and painted more rocks with memories and dreams. Joy washed over him, wrapping Jake in a blanket of support, and he began to truly believe that they might just be able to weather whatever storms lay ahead. As the vibrant creations filled the park, Jake looked at Lily, who was adding the final touches to her rock, a sparkling star with the words "Love" always written in bright pink. "You did this, kiddo," he said, pulling her into a tight embrace. "Together," she chirped. "Together," he confirmed, his voice thick with emotion. In that moment, surrounded by the laughter of friends and the radiance of painted stones, Jake felt a shift within himself. Perhaps this was the beginning of reshaping not only their path but also the legacy he would create for Lily. The hope he had once clung to was now blossoming into something tangible. Love, community, and their shared bravery knotted together like a lifeline. And as they danced under the setting sun, wrapped in the warmth of their newfound family, Jake realized they were no longer defined by the past. They were free to craft a future lit by the joy they created, one filled with laughter, understanding, and love shared by a community that rallied around them. In that clarity, Jake squared his shoulders and looked toward tomorrow not as a burden but as a new beginning. This is your moment, dear reader. You need to subscribe now to witness the transformations we create together. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us spread these uplifting stories. Comment below your thoughts about this ending and how it made you feel. And don't wait not even one more second to share this inspiring video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. This is the moment to show your support and make a difference.